Come on, you not only did you add insult to my injury by going after the big banks, but you used the line here. You basically took the Hillary Clinton line. It takes a village to battle a bank.
Because that's what's happening. Believe me, I wanted to let it go. Because if you know anything, I have written about this before. San Francisco has a municipal bank movement that is actually kind of culminating now. There's an actual resolution going before the Board of Supervisors there to create a municipal bank, take their business away from the big banks, Wells Fargo, Union Bank, whatever it may be out there. But then I find out, I write this column and I think, I'm done with it. And what happens is people are writing to me about all their little local efforts to get their own towns, counties, municipalities out of the big banks.
When we're talking about this, there are many different aspects to the anti-big bank movement. One is the whole foreclosure kind of mortgage mess, okay? And that's one effort you talk about. The other is just the general movement to kind of move away from high-fee banks, to community banks or to, I don't know what other kinds of banks.
But I think the main thing is we have, the public has a certain amount of funds set aside, and we've set them in these banks, which are only really just collecting fees from us. So isn't there a better way to put this all to work in our communities? And all these things take different shapes and forms, but what they all do is they try to take those funds and give them to either banks that are more active in the community in terms of maybe they have a better record on foreclosures and helping homeowners, maybe they're doing more lending to small business. That's sort of the impetus behind all of these movements or micro movements.
Now, let's talk about some of these micro movements, because in the past, the community banking efforts have not always been successful. I mean, if you go back a little bit, there was that South Shore Bank, was a big Chicago bank. The feds were going to try and bail it out. I don't know if you remember Goldman Sachs was involved. You remember that? That was a community bank that invested locally in the community that went belly up, doing the very things that a lot of these banks are trying to do right now. Am I missing something?
Well, I think you're missing that the big banks have royally screwed up and cost taxpayers,
That's true.
Billions and trillions of commitments from the federal government. So banking, as you know, banking is not a safe industry. It's not, there's no guarantees, and that's why we have things like the FDIC and all that. And no approach is going to be perfect, but the idea of trying to take what money came from the community and put it back into the community, I think is
I know you like that. You think it's in some cases noble or something to that effect.
No, I just think it's a smarter idea.
You think it's a smarter idea, and yet without the profit motive guiding the banks, can they really function as being the overriding? A lot of these, like South Shore Bank in Chicago, was a non-profit bank, I believe. It was very community-oriented, was not really focused on profits. If you take out the profit motive, can you have a well-run bank?
Absolutely, and I think that the counterpoint, of course, is the Bank of North Dakota.
You keep on, every time we come on, you bring up this bank in North Dakota. You always do.
Blame it on North Dakota. They make money. They take the money from taxes and they put it to work, and they make money. They return $50 or $60 million to taxpayers every year.
I got one final question before we turn to the Mega Millions lottery, which, as you know, is the story of the day.
I'm going to win. I don't care what Jason Zweig says. I don't care if I'm impoverished and stupid. I'm going to win that thing.
We talked about this last time, and it is a little bit of a cheap shot I'm going to take. Have you changed your banking relationship personally from the big bank that you were using before, which will go unnamed?
I'm currently in transition with that.
David Weidner. He's at least very honest.